Don't look under the internet.
Gang, we're back, gang. We're back, gang.
Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang.
Well,
Gooch in your gang, Gooch in your gang.
shall we jump into part two?
Part two.
Are you recording, Matt? I never stopped. Did you?
I started recording again.
Hell yeah! All right.
Man, Tori from Texas is a fucking G. He's here for every
Hell
single
yeah.
fucking recording.
I know.
Every single bonus he watches again when we upload it, and he'd be buying the merch.
Shouts out to Tori from Texas. Keep this in, man.
Yeah.
Let everyone know. Shout out to
He
Tori.
may
from
be like
Everybody
Deluti's
know.
#1 fan, honestly.
Hell yeah.
Tori,
this
you have a drink
episode-
in your hand. Do a
And
toast for this.
They switched over to Twitch when they
I know.
could
Every
easily
single
be in the Patreon.
yeah, every single time we stream.
Or I mean Discord.
You know what?
Yeah, dude.
Anyway,
Let's do this.
just respects to. That's all.
Let's do this. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Don't Look Under the Internet, an internet comedy horror podcast dedicated to Tori from Texas. Shouts out to Tori from Texas.
Yes.
This episode's for you and you specifically, and I guess others that listen. But you get this episode.
But if you're listening and no one else is around you, you can think that it's all yours.
Yeah. Tori's the fucking G. You know.
Seriously though.
My housekeeping, Diluti, housekeeping is just Tori from Texas. All right, that's it for
9
housekeeping.
times.
You got
No, this is,
25 new
We're on part 2 of Midwest Angelica. We ended the last one
Hell
kind of spur
yeah.
of the moment because we were like, hey, we're an hour deep. It turns out we're only about halfway there. So let's make this a 2-parter. So we did just that. So last we ended was Doug, I'll kind of let you TLDR where we ended last.
Yeah, so essentially we saw home kind of go down in flames. We saw the rise and the more knowledge of what the Starkill infestation looks like. We saw some more pieces of the puzzle come out of the woodwork with some names of some churchgoers that went missing, and now we know where they went. And we talked about the Akashic Plane, which is the way that the Starkill network talks amongst itself. And yeah, that's kind of where we left off. There's a lot more
There's
coming
so
up.
much more. So much more. And
Is
if
there?
you guys are interested, I have the next set of videos.
No, thank you.
But I do, to piggyback off of Mike, I do actually just want to do a real quick toast if you'll join me, Doug, because I know you're helping me out tonight.
love
Once again, Tori, thank you so much for being here every fucking week. Cheers to you, bud.
It's funnily enough, I said that and acknowledged him for always being here, and I think we picked the one moment that he's not here to actually say something about it.
I think
He's
we
gonna-
did.
He's gonna have a really funny like re-listen to this and be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Let's take it
Damn
all
it.
back. Take it all back. Tori, you're
I take
kidding
it
me,
back.
actually.
Um,
Actually,
okay.
this episode goes out to Jay Surprise, actually. So-
Yeah.
Actually, now that we're talking about it,
Like, go to Fro. Where's Fro?
He's still living in an
he couldn't
underpass.
afford it.
It's
He
going
couldn't
even
afford
worse.
internet this week.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that's right. Too poor.
You can't listen
Forgot.
because you can't afford to.
Dude, I felt so okay. Well, we can talk about it another
Yeah.
time. Let's
That's
get the
bonus
fuck right
material.
back into yeah, really. Let's get back to Midwest Angelica. So as Doug said, last we left off, we learned a little bit more about the Starkill infection, I guess. We learned how it communicates. And we also learned that there are we learned very, very lightly that there's like a series of tests that can be run. There was not too much information given on that. So this next video, it's called Babylon. And it starts off with pretty much all of these next videos are going to be prefaced with like archival footage with a date given to it, and it's all in sequential order. This specific one, it goes over the interior of home base, and it shows like the different hallways. You see these different security cameras, and you actually see that there's a lot of areas that have no infection in it. It's just the infrastructure that was built for it. And then we get introduced to these. We get a bigger introduction to these things called the sin tests. Now, what the sin tests are, is it seems to be a series of questions designed to root out like what your I don't even know how to describe this, like what your nature is. Like if your nature is human or if it's not human. And all of the questions that are a part of these tests have very like human emotion based answers to them. And there's a range of correct answers, but there's also a very wide range of incorrect answers. Now, the ones we see in this video we see Ezra and we see Spencer. Those are the two that we see performing these sin tests.
Spencer. Oh.
Oh.
You mean
Yeah.
Spencer Vega?
Spencer's a very important name. Remember that.
Spencer?
So the first one we see is we see Spencer, and he goes through this sin test, and they ask some very random questions about family, about food, just things that you, Mike, Doug, Matt, all of us, we wouldn't think twice about, because
I don't eat.
as far as I know, we're all human. So it's very much rooted in human nature. So Spencer answers these questions, and it's the questions themselves aren't that important. All you need to know is the answers that you hear from Spencer they're very normal. They're things that you probably could have answered yourself. Now, it's 3 questions, and by the end of the 3rd question, it's very clear that Dr. Spencer is not, as they say, infected. Now, we just talked a lot about the star kill. We talked a lot about the how it infects things. Doug was talking a bunch about how rapidly it fucking happens. So apparently, again, this is home base. So we know that a lot of home base is overrun with this. I mean, honestly, let's call it a space fungus at this point. It's infected the hallways. It's infected certain computer terminals. And now they're testing everyone in these clean areas to make sure that whoever they're talking to, whoever they have in the team, is not infected with the star kill, which connects them to this network that lets them communicate almost like a hive mind. So Spencer gets asked 3 questions, passes, says nope, no sign of infection. Ezra gets asked 3 questions, but the last question that was answered leaves some room for questions, so they ask more questions, and I think it was a total of 7 questions that got asked, and by the end of it, they determined that Ezra had been infected with Starkill, which means Ezra's mind has been influenced by this contagion, I guess. So Ezra was ordered to be eliminated, so Ezra has been killed. Spencer, however, has been put in cryostasis or cryosleep because apparently whatever Spencer knows is of utmost importance, and they need to make sure that information remains safe. So they put him in cryostasis, cryosleep. The last thing that we learn, though, is that April 4th is when the operation to eliminate the threat begins. There's not a lot given on it.
Didn't they mention that like Spencer was like mildly infected or something, and the cryo was to like slow it or some shit?
Correct. That was at the
Yeah.
very end of the video is when after Spencer gets put into cryo, after they decide the date for the operation to eliminate the star kill threat.
It's infecting his dick.
All this hopefully.
No, there's a diagram. It is.
Yeah, it's infected with both.
No, there is. The wireframe diagrams are fantastic, and actually, if you look at the CT scan that was taken of him, yeah, it does appear to be right around or above
The dick area.
Spencer's dick, the dick area, the fat upper dick area.
He shouldn't have
He's
fucked
like-
that chunk.
I was gonna say
You shouldn't have fucked that
he was like,
trunk.
I think I can fuck the trunk.
Don't stick your dick in that.
Just don't, man.
But
Um,
someone, if alien life does come to Earth, someone's gonna be like, I'm gonna be the first one to fuck
I'm
it.
gonna fuck it.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna fuck
there's
that thing.
already someone on Earth planning for that. I'm sure.
Mhm.
I mean, are you not?
They're jerking it to
I-
ET
oh.
in preparation right now.
One of these
I wonder what
days, I'll
ET's
pull
real
out
name
my-
is.
It's Zrek. I'm not even kidding.
Matt,
ET's
seriously?
real name
Matt,
is
I love
Zrek.
you.
Oh,
Yes,
interesting.
Zrek. Zrek.
Interesting that you know that.
I literally just
Why do you
this
know
weekend,
that?
I literally that is a very good question. This weekend we were in line, slightly inebriated, riding the ET ride, and I was like, "What the fuck is ET's real name?" And then I Googled it, and apparently there was a second movie that was supposed to be made, and in the writing of this second movie, they named him Zrek.
Interesting.
Hmm.
What a bizarrely opportune moment.
Seriously, when you said
Seriously,
that, I was like, "Holy shit, I know that."
Yeah. Okay.
just teeing Doug up. I love it, Matt. Keep that up.
Yep.
Anyway,
Look, ask him when Tootsie Rolls were invented. He might know that one too.
he might know it.
I don't, but I
Damn.
The
might.
last thing we see and hear is that April 4th is when this operation to eliminate the threat is going to begin. Spencer's put into cryostasis simply because, well, yes, he did pass the sin test. There is, they don't say it, but they heavily imply that there is infection inside Dr. Spencer, and they show a CT scan that shows kind of what it looks like. And as long as you've seen some of the imagery of what the Starkill infection looks like, you can put two and two together and be like, oh, he's infected. But that's about the end of the Babylon video. The biggest thing to take away here is the sin tests and the individuals that were involved with it and what came of that. The next video we see is called Coliseum. Now, this again begins with an archive file, and it shows some real fucking weird CT scans or computed topography scans, which is essentially magnets being amazing and showing us the inside of people's brains and shit.
How do they work?
They don't work when
Doug
they get
cared
wet.
about
I know
magnets?
that.
Are you
They
asking
don't
about
when they're wet.
magnets,
Actually,
or-
I know this one. I was
Nobody
slightly
knows.
inebriated at a Universal.
I love how when stories start like this. So we get these weird CT scans, and after we see like it's like 3 or 4 of them, and it looks like a CT scan of either somebody's brain who has grown tentacles or somebody's abdomen who has grown tentacles. One of the two. Tentacles are involved. That's all you need to know. And then after this, we get a text chat that's between all you see is Churchill and Michaels, and we're assuming that this is Gamma Churchill and I forget Michael's first name. I don't think it really matters. Michael's a different
Michael.
person. It
Michael.
establishes that Michaels
Michael?
has seen images like this while dreaming, and these images began right around April 5th.
It's Lucas. Sorry. Dr. Lucas.
Oh,
Lucas
bro.
Michaels,
He went
Two
missing in
first
89.
names.
89, right?
Yeah, he went missing in 89. He was the
So-
head
Wait, is this the-
physician at home.
Is this the
Oh,
bite
cool.
of,
Yeah, perfect.
the
So
bite of 89?
Technically,
Are we
So
going to FNAF
apparently,
horror real
Michaels
quick?
has seen images like these CT scans, these super fucked up CT scans, while he's been dreaming, ever since the date of April 5th, 1985, is when he started seeing these. Have we talked about that date at all?
I know that Debbie just hit the wall around that time.
So I'll take that as a
very
no.
good.
So when apparently the first time the anomaly AZ001 was discovered
Mhm.
was April 5th, 1985. And
In
it was discovered orbiting
19.
Jupiter.
1985. Woohoo.
Yeah. Woohoo.
Yeah.
Orbiting.
Orbit.
When
Um,
did Motley Crue become classic rock?
Welcome to
Last
really really questionable podcast where we just keep asking questions.
Really
and
questionable podcast.
Really questionable.
And it's exactly this
Really
podcast.
questionable podcast.
Are we a podcast?
Um,
I don't even know anymore. Go
Anyway,
on.
Jason.
Cool. Thank you so much, Matt. So after we discover that Michaels has been having almost the same dream of AZ-001 orbiting Jupiter, since the date it was discovered orbiting Jupiter, that should light up a few fucking light bulbs in your head about something's going on. So this is discovered. Michaels is actually given command of an organization who will be working in conjunction with NASA. And then we switch right back to Home Delta, March 1987. We discovered that Home Delta was actually founded by Gamma Churchill and Dr. Spencer. We get a clip of a lecture from the 80s, late 80s. I think it's actually 87, where the Akashic plane is actually explained. And what they say is the Akashic plane is explained as the network that the Starkill threat uses to communicate with each other and itself, is how it's described, which means not only is the Starkill infection extension of itself, but it's able to split its consciousness into several pieces and talk to each other, which is fucking terrifying.
1896. That's
Huh?
when the Tootsie Roll was invented.
Jesus fucking
Oh my
Christ.
god, you're so
Boo.
right.
Boo,
You
get him
think-
out of here.
You can thank slapping Mothman's ass for that.
Really
boo,
when
boo.
podcast.
Mods ban
The
him.
best part is since we're saying it on this show, nobody will believe us.
Mods, get this guy
Not
out
a
of here.
single. So we see this lecture. And I think I have a theory of who the person talking is. We'll get that in a second. But it shows this lecture where the Akashic plane is explained, and it's to a group of students who are studying this telepathic link between these different nodes of infection. We hear more and more about this.
The dude even said
Right,
like during
after-
this like school what is it like a teacher, like it looks like it's like a teacher at class, you know what I mean?
college lecture. It's
college
like it-
lecture, yeah.
It looks like a college lecture.
I love how he's like, humans cannot keep up with this thing. It is
Dude,
peak
yeah.
evolution. I love that. He's just like, we are fucked. So
The
we
be-
gotta
the best
do
takeaway.
shit about it.
Dude, the best takeaway of this is that whoever is saying this literally goes, yeah, even if all fucking 8.5 billion of us got together and tried to create a solution to this problem, the fact of the matter is the problem's mind is so far advanced that even all 8.5 billion of us don't even approach 1/100th of a fraction of what this thing can think of. So even if every human on Earth got together and tried to think of something together, it wouldn't fucking matter. So the direness of this threat is amplified, and everyone's like, fuck, like this thing could kill Earth. This is if we were going to SCP classifications, this would be an Apollyon level event for sure. So in response, so you guys know the Tower of Babel, right? Like the old one, like the mythical one that has
One
basically you can
and out
translate
the
every
Bible.
language to each other.
It's the Christian explanation
the
for
Tower
why
of Babel.
everybody speaks different languages.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the Tower of Babel. We get Project Babylon. This project is designed to build a tower that can help us interface with this Akashic plane, or this neural network that communicates with these different nodes of fungi all over the world, or at the very least within home base.
The thing that really bothers me
Um,
about the diagram for this one is that the like outer rings of it
Yeah.
are smaller as they go up, like a cake would be, but then
Yep.
the little donuts inside, the one in the middle is smaller. I don't know, something about this really bugs me.
0 out of 10.
Well,
Worst analog horror ever.
Yeah.
for architectural stupidness.
Yeah.
So after this lecture, like we basically get the gist that like we've known about this threat for a minute, just not too much about it. We then start to learn about something called the Deathbringer squads. So Tower of Babel was designed to essentially let us network with the Akashic Plane, which is the neural network that the Starkill infection uses to communicate with itself and other versions of itself. If we can integrate with that, we can basically eavesdrop on the conversation it has with itself. So they just constructed something called the Tower of Babel, or Project Babylon. And it was built by integrating the Akashic Plane into its framework. Essentially, we took very, very fundamental learning modules from this network and we integrate it directly into our own computing systems and then try to connect to it, almost like an internet connection.
Rosetta Stone.
Yeah, Rosetta Stone. We then learn about something called the Deathbringers, which, damn, that is a badass name. The Deathbringers refer to a squad of individuals, both, this is where it gets weird, both very much dead and very alive. Simply because the Deathbringer squad is the only squad in history to attempt to integrate the Starkill infection into their own genome. So, this squad was created as a response to the Starkill infection. What we are trying to do is harness the endurance, the amplified abilities, the godlikeness that this infection displays, and we're trying to put it inside humans so we can control it and then basically defeat this thing that's trying to kill us.
They basically made a bunch of Reanimen from Invincible, you know?
Oh yeah, pretty much. 100%.
Ooh.
Like they're like
And
cyber.
so this,
They're like cyber.
we are
dudes.
Cybermen.
Yeah.
Cybermen. No wait, that's Dallas. Sorry.
So they went through this project. They injected Starkill infection into people's cells. I will say about 90% of the people that tried this died almost immediately. And here's one of the more important parts. One of the biggest symptoms of being injected with the Starkill infection to try and integrate was liquefaction. That should bring us back somewhere, huh?
Liquid factions.
Liquid factions. No, it liquefies you. If you are not accepted, your skin, your organs, your blood, your bones, everything turns to liquid and just leaks everywhere. And obviously, you fucking die.
And this is how, when Jason mentioned this, I don't know if anyone recalls in the first episode, I was talking about home. I thought it was blood coming out of the helmet.
It is not.
Brought it to my attention. It makes sense that it is like it's them. It's just them liquefied coming out of the fucking
exactly.
mask. Yeah.
So the reason I was so adamant when you guys brought that up is because I knew that this is where we were heading. So it's not just blood, it's just tissue, it's organs, it's fucking everything. So Starkill has a very, very, very potent effect on let's call it the uninitiated, I guess, because there were some success stories when it came to integrating Starkill infection into human genomes. And that's where the Deathbringers come in. So the Deathbringer squad was a group of individuals who managed to survive the Starkill infection integration. Not only did it give them super strength, like hyper awareness, almost omniscience, but it linked everybody telepathically. So anytime that you had a feeling, thought, or anything, anybody else who was infected by the Starkill infection labeled as Deathbringers knew about it. So it's almost instant response time. Like it's just a huge leg up over everything. Not only that, there was talks of one individual gaining complete control over this Deathbringer squad. Not mentioned at this point in time. We will get there though. So they go over these Deathbringers who have these superhuman abilities, and they show what they look like, and like it looks painful.
They're Reanimen.
The transformation looks horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like your bones almost get ripped out and reformed. Sometimes you get extra limbs. Sometimes you get extra organs. But the big takeaway is that like this is near immortal status. So at this point, we have several humans on Earth that are approaching like god levels of power and just survivability. The worst part is though, let's go back to Dr. Spencer. You remember how he was thrown into cryosleep after discovering he was only slightly infected?
Mhm.
He is given control of all of them, every single one. They are all telepathically linked to his mind, and they essentially tell, hey, Dr. Spencer, you are the attack plan. Whatever you deem fit is what's going to happen. So Spencer gets control of this Deathbringer squad who has these superhuman abilities, and this telepathic link is apparently was going to be the key to winning this battle. Now, it sounds like we're gearing up for like an end-all, be-all. Like, we're going to fight the big bad evil, yeah? We're just about there.
What is it good for?
Oh, absolutely nothing, my guy. So, next video.
It never
It's
changes.
called
I know
Exodus. So, Exodus. We've already heard up to this point what the plan is, more or less. All we know is this next operation is like a Hail Mary. Like, we do this, we kill Starkill infection, like we make sure that the human race is solidified and we keep evolving and we keep living. So we get an overview of the battle plan, which is we are going to be using this Deathbringer squad linked to Dr. Spencer to basically battle this infection, make sure that this doesn't happen anymore. So we see the start sequence of interfacing, and we see this long, like needle-like probe, and we assume that all of the Deathbringer squad is linked to it. And so we see an overview of what I assume to be is a CT scan of the Starkill infection, with the entry point getting closer, closer, closer. Mark. We get 5 seconds away, and all of a sudden, we lose connection. However, we do know that the Deathbringer squad has been activated. We get a bunch of static, and then all of a sudden we get a red flashing screen that just says Exodus over and over again. And all we hear is Project Babylon has failed. There's a bunch of screaming, there's a bunch of loud noises, and we see a bunch of death and destruction. We see the Tower of Babel as a silhouette of like right in front of the sunset, and we see these two huge tentacles raise up from the ground, almost like it's a neuron link to something.
In
it looks
this
like two
diagram
arms
of
a
the
neuron.
tower, the donut in the middle is actually bigger than the other ones. My immersion is completely destroyed.
0 out of 10.
You're not wrong. So after we hear that Project Babylon has failed, we see the Tower of Babel gets taken over, and we see a video of somebody filming, and then Gamma Churchill. And he's wearing a gas mask. He's got a bunch of gear on. He's got a bunch of electronics in front of him. And it says that Churchill's been contacted by somebody through the Akashic Plane receiver, which is something they set up to make sure they could keep communications active with the Deathbringer squad that got sent in to this neural network. Whoever this is just keeps taunting Churchill, saying, thank you for the toys. I love it. Like, we're going to send these right back to you, but they're going to be better. And there's this super ominous tone. So it's a very real thing that this Deathbringer squad has now been turned to the Starkill infection, is now being sent back to kill the people responsible. However, the one thing that throws us off here is we get taunting, thank you for the toys. We get a very ominous good luck against them. And it's signed Admiral Nero. Now, this is where everything just fucking gets shat sideways. So, we cut back to Churchill in his gas mask suit, and he's setting up a bunch of electronics, sitting on the floor, and he goes,
no,
oh my God.
Doug.
What?
I just want to interject real quick because I just want to ask the question that I think some other people might be thinking when they're watching this. And it's, wouldn't if Mr. Vega was connected to Starkill and he was given the plans and said, "Hey, you can make these plans. It's all up to you." Don't you think fucking all of it knows already?
Good job, Doug. You caught the thing. So,
Just saying.
Churchill sets up this jammer, which apparently scrambles the signals between the Akashic plane and everything connected to it. So that includes these Deathbringers. So that the whole last little bit from the Exodus video from Admiral Nero is essentially saying, "Hey, these Deathbringers you created, yeah, these are ours now, and I'm going to send them your way." So Churchill puts a signal jammer on. Haven't heard that before. However, it ends up scrambling whatever telepathic link that these Deathbringers have to like the hive minds, and they get real confused, and Churchill and his buddy end up destroying all of them. The last one they kill, he goes, okay. He turns to I don't remember who he's with. He's with another assumedly full-blown human. And he pulls off one of the Deathbringers' masks and he goes, okay, this is yours now. Your new mission is to infiltrate whoever the fuck is doing this. Observe and report just to give me information and we can decide on what our next move is. And I will tell you where our next plans begin. And that is, it's with a communal meeting between NASA, the US government, and Admiral Nero. That's been decided already. And so apparently the first move will begin with this meeting. And with that, we move on to the very next video. It's called Homecoming. Now,
this video fucking slaps.
Dude,
I love this video.
It's so fucking good. The classical music, Beethoven, the fucking nukes, it's great. So we just got we saw that Project Babylon has failed. According to Earth at this point, we're fucked. So, there's a very convincing speech that is made by someone that we now know as General Pizzo. Now, the very end of the last video was Churchill saying, "Tell Nero Pizzo is coming for him, and he will know what that means." Next video we get is General Pizzo giving a speech to what it looks like U.S. Congress or just the U.S. people, essentially saying that the Starkill threat has been eliminated, and there's a fucking montage of bombs going off over sunsets on top of installations. Beethoven's playing in the background. It's fucking great.
The words obliterated keep showing up on flashing on the screen. It's fucking amazing.
Oh, it's amazing. And essentially what happens here is the US government is attributing their power to be at least tenfold of what God has. That is the point of this video.
One of the did you catch the reference too? One of them is they say something like the Jones family has been found, and it just shows them just lighting it up, and it's Avery Jones from, and they're just shooting the absolute. They're going, what is it? Which one is it? Is it Jason? Is it like Jason Takes Manhattan, where it like just starts off with the military just obliterating him?
Oh,
essentially what
Jason goes to hell. Jason Goes to hell.
Yeah, yeah. That's what this
when
was.
They fucking shoot the rocket launcher at him. Yeah, that's
like,
exactly what happens here. Oh, dude, it's just all out fucking war. It's great, but it doesn't fucking matter. None of it matters. So, as of right now, what we think is that so General Pizzo gave a speech saying the Starkill infection has been obliterated, right? The very last bit of this video, we get a video cut to home, and we see this blue like electronic face like built into a computer screen, and we see the Starkill infection everywhere. It's hanging from the rafters. It's infecting everything. However, we just got told, as the American people, that there is no Starkill infection anymore. This is where we learn that the person making the speech is not General Pizzo. However, it is a stand-in by an inmate who is on death row in a very specific region to help us find out where this transmission is coming from. And if you caught the Death Note reference, kudos to you. Very last thing we see is home. We hear this really, really disgruntled voice, distorted voice talking about how it's a long ass speech. The essential points you need to hear are: we're very much still alive. We will kill all of you. Also, it's time for the beta chunk. You guys remember the alpha chunk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which
I
is
know
from
my beta.
the
What about the
thing
sigma
by,
chunk?
Jupiter. Oh, we'll get there, man. We'll chunk some sigmas as long as you want to.
Should
We
know my
see
fucking
impact
beta
point
chunk.
of something called the beta chunk, touchdown on Earth, and it shows that there is much, much, much more to this invasion. That's the very end of Homecoming. The last video on my docket is a 42-second video called Pause, and we've hard cut back to the analog horror.
Yeah.
We see Channel 6 weather, I think is in Kansas, and it shows just like the breakdown of the day. But the thing
Kansas
to take
City,
away
Missouri.
here is Missouri. Thank you, Missouri.
It's so confusing.
Yeah, I know it shouldn't be
Dickhead.
that, but the thing that you need to pay attention to is, yeah, it's going to tell you the weather for today and tomorrow. However, in like the middle top right, there is a dark, tentacly laden something just hanging in the air. And that is the thing to take away from that. And with that, I am done with my section.
It do
Goodbye.
be
It's no good.
that way. So the next section, we shift back to some found footage shit. So the next video in this series is called Paradise. And Paradise is actually about the most paradise place on the planet Earth, obviously, Paradise, Missouri. So this video takes off on June 2nd of 1999. And it's a video that's being filmed by a man named Marcus Lucan, who is an independent journalist from Kansas City. And he talks about a TV station from Paradise, Missouri, where he saw some crazy shit going on in May. And this is what Jason was just talking about in the pause video.
Mm-hmm.
He saw this broadcast on TV. So he wants to come to
Is
Paradise.
this like another angle or some shit?
Well, we'll get there. So he wants to come to Paradise and figure out what it is that he actually saw hanging in the air on the news. So he drives into Paradise, Missouri, and he parks his car and starts walking around. And he films a bunch of shit. There's a house. He zooms in on some flowers, and eventually he comes across the lake that is shown in the broadcast. And he looks up over it, and wouldn't you fucking know it, the thing from the TV broadcast is still just chilling there up in the air. And this thing, it just starts shitting.
No way.
It starts shitting, boy. Things start falling out of this thing, plopping all over the ground. And the obvious question at this point is, how has nobody noticed or said anything about the gigantic shitting mushroom in the sky?
What a fucking sentence.
we're gonna find out. And he decides that he needs to get closer to this thing. So
Good idea.
he tries to get closer to this mushroom. He figures out that it has just shitted all over some playground equipment. He's zooming in on this stuff, this goop that it is dropping out of the thing in the sky. And it looks very similar to the things that we saw in the very early videos that were like eating up the fucking deer and shit. And then he takes a gander at the water around the playground equipment, and it's blood ass red. What other liquids may be coming out of these things that are relevant to this story? I don't know. Maybe we already covered that. Oh yeah, my cum is red sometimes. I went to the doctor and they told me that was pretty normal, so I'm not too worried about it.
I wouldn't be.
So yeah, it's fine. It comes and goes. So.
Yeah, that's all good.
About the time that I think that I should really go back and ask about it again, it clears up. So we're all good.
It's like a car, you just can't get it to recreate the issue.
Exactly. You take it to the mechanic. You're like, look, my dick does this, and they're just like, that looks fine to me. But
Quick,
Yeah,
beat
that
off
makes
in front of me, and we'll see if that happens.
Yeah.
yeah,
Don't mind the camera.
I used to pay people to watch me beat off, and now I pay people even more to watch me beat off and then give me a diagnosis at the end.
There you
But
go.
Wait, should
insurance-
people
but
pay you to watch you beat off?
If that's the
You
way
not
that you've
pay to
been
watch?
doing it, I need to know your secrets.
It's called OnlyFans, and you just beat off, and they pay you to do it.
No, that doesn't sound right.
You guys are
have to
getting
pay other
paid.
people.
Yeah,
Well, see,
I'm
that's the
pay-
thing, Mike. You and Matt aren't apparently.
I just do it
Isn't
in
it
front
like
of
you put a-
unsuspecting women in my office.
or Home Depot.
What is Louis C.K. up to these days?
Bleep us out.
I think he has good things to say. Anyway, so um,
I'm sorry. I gotta mute.
so anyhow, this Lucas fella, he starts
Ooh.
walking around and investigating the area. He finds a house and he walks up to this house and he zooms in on a window and there's just be tentacles up in this house just living there. And you start to wonder, where the fuck are all the people? So he's like, all right, I got to get the fuck out of here. He runs away. He gets in his car and starts driving off. And he's like, I need to find some place to stay because this shit's getting out of hand. So he finds this place called the Deer Lodge Motel. And he goes into the Deer Lodge Motel and decides to stay there for the evening. And he goes into the bathroom and opens the tap. And that blood red shit just starts coming out of the tap. And he's like, well, that's fucking weird. Anyway, I'm going to turn the camera off now because I'm going to go to sleep. So he decides to sleep in this motel room where there's blood coming out of the pipes. And while he's doing so, this fucking entity just comes into the room and starts hovering above his bed. And it 100% looks like an angel. And it seems like it says something, but you can't really make out what it says. And then it just fucking disappears. So the next morning he wakes up and he's standing in the parking lot. And he's like, man, I had some really fucking weird dreams last night. Anyway, I'm not afraid anymore. And
Is
there's
this where the show Touched by an Angel came from?
Holy shit!
maybe
Or Seventh Heaven.
I don't have a witty quip for that one.
All right, moving on.
Anyway, so he says, I'm not afraid anymore. So he's like, I'm just gonna start walking around and seeing if I can find some more weird shit. So it seems he gets back in his car and he takes off down the road, and he comes across this field where there's just this big ass fleshy fucking AT-AT walking around.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what it looks like. It looks
That's
like
exactly what
it looks like a 4-year-old child's drawing of a dog, but it's like 200 feet tall.
It looks like
And-
the thing from the Mist movie at the end.
It's
Oh, yeah.
Clifford.
It's
Yeah.
Clifford.
Before or after the man shoots his own child in the head?
Uh-huh.
Well, that's because the drawing was so bad.
Oh, right.
Right. It
Right.
had nothing to do with how sad he was. It was
Yeah.
just
That
disappointment.
ending is fucking something else.
You got out of the
Dude,
lines, Timmy.
Is it weird that I think that's one of the best movie endings I've ever seen?
Yes.
That says a lot about something. I don't know what it is about you, but it says something. For
My
sure.
cynicism, my non-belief in humanity, my
Your desire to shoot children.
The fact that we don't condone children.
yeah, maybe. Man,
Anyhow, he's
subconscious
like-
is a weird thing.
He's like, I need to keep looking. So he investigates by going back to the lake that he was at earlier, which I guess took him a long fucking time to get there because by the time he gets there, it's like starting to turn into night. So he starts walking around in the woods by this lake, and he eventually comes across the angel thing that was in his room at night. And it just like makes a noise and then it disappears, and he's like, I don't know if the camera's gonna fucking see that. Well, the camera does fucking see that. And so he keeps marching into the forest, and eventually he comes across some more goop on the ground, and it turns out to be the entrance to like a cave. And he wanders into the cave, and it's just like this long cavern of just fleshy, gross brown nast. And when he gets to the end of it, we see the person that we've been seeing in the like gas mask get up from earlier
fleshy?
videos. And he's like, help
That'd be.
me,
Oh,
help me, dude,
Help.
help me, dude.
please.
So that's the end of
I've
Paradise.
been gooped.
Is there? Can we assume who that is at this point, or no?
Dang it, Peg already made me goop in front of
I
the
don't.
boy.
I don't think it's stated in the
No.
earlier videos. It becomes apparent in like my next couple.
Did you read the
videos, though.
description of that one?
Awesome.
Did I read the description of that one? Boy, I sure fucking didn't.
Beep it.
Oh shit! I
What
didn't even
What
look
are we
at
saying? What are we
those.
saying? The tape is the second created by Marcus Lucan in late May to early July of 1999. Both were found during a Japanese official investigation in 2001, and they were thought to have been leaked by a former CIA operative. 2 other tapes by Lucan have since been found, though they weren't included in the original link.
Did that answer your question? Not really at all.
No, it fucking didn't. I don't. Okay, that same thing is explained later in like the next video. So, the next video is called Terminated, and Terminated contains some tapes from the Pentagon.
Fuck!
Fuck, they hit the
Oh my
Pentagon.
God.
They hit the
The
Pentagon.
chunk hit the
My
chunk hit
God.
the Pentagon. So these tapes were evidently found alongside Lucan's footage that we were just watching, and they are more television broadcasts. So these television broadcasts are like emergency announcements. The original, these news updates cut into television, and we get like basically we get like temperatures and shit. It's hot in Topeka apparently, but it is
Almost
hot
always.
in Topeka.
The weather is
Yep.
hot. In
In
Topeka.
Topeka. But as this news broadcast goes on, something scrolls across the top of the screen, and it says that there's a water boil advisory. Maybe because somebody's jizz and blood cum all up in the water pipes.
It
And
has
then
nothing to do with this whole alien thing. It's just some crazy guy just jerking
No.
it the
Yes.
the
It's just-
water system.
just the homeless.
It's just Roid Rage Randy just sticking his dick in the water main.
We've
Yeah.
asked him to stop.
Alert! There's cum in the water. Alert!
We've asked him to stop, but every time we do, he claims to be a sovereign citizen, and there's just nothing we can do about it.
I'm a sovereign citizen. I have super semen.
Yeah.
Eat
So,
it.
it follows that by like an on-scene reporter, and they're like, "Oh fuck, look at this fucking giant fucking flesh dog thing, and this floating mushroom above it." And we get footage of the thing that Lucan found earlier, and then this video that we're watching, which is like a recording of this tape, says broadcast terminated, and then there's an explanation that pops up on the screen, which tells you that Home has hijacked the broadcast and they shut it down, or at least that's what they figure happened here. So it's a cover-up. Essentially what is happening is they don't want anybody to actually know what is happening in Paradise, Missouri.
Weird. Almost
Weird.
like the talking about the Starkill threat was lying.
It's almost like Home is up to something.
But it's not even home anymore. It's like home 2.0.
Well, no,
Yeah,
hold
well,
on. There's still
that's explained in the next 16 fucking minute video that I have.
Ah, piss.
So
Actually-
is it just
Actually, it may not
fair-
even be explained in this one. It may be the
is it
next one.
just
To be fair, they did say that out of the Starkill infection that infected Home, there is a stronghold.
is it
I got a stronghold for you there, buddy.
Is it
Mm.
just
And it shoots
home?
blood.
Is it just home by itself for all of this?
What do you mean?
There's
do you mean?
two.
Like,
there's
There's
So
two
is
homes.
it
There's
just
Home
home?
Delta and there's
there's home and
There's
home
also
Delta.
NASA. If we want to
So
get into
this
that.
isn't just home. It's not Home Alone.
No,
doing
that's
all
like
this?
I
oh
got
god.
Ooh.
all right.
Keep
Ooh.
going. Fucking
We'll see you next week
Christ.
for part 3, everybody.
I'm kicking Mike out of the
Because we
fucking
can't.
server.
Anyway, the next fucking video is called Apostles.
Damn it, Mike.
And Apostles starts right off the rip by, kind of explaining what's going on. And this is more shit from the Pentagon. Apparently, Home Delta was completely assimilated by Starkill, which we could have inferred from the things that are happening in the earlier videos. But the entirety of everybody who was working for Home Delta has been assimilated into the Starkill at this point. Which would
Oh wait, no, I thought they said it was obliterated and gone and it was done.
They did.
yeah, it was cleaned up.
Yeah, it's all
What do
we're
you-
all good.
You
What do you
don't need
mean
to worry
released?
about it anymore,
Huh?
champ.
Hmm.
Yeah, just inject environmectin into your veins.
Just
or
remember your
whatever.
3 F's, buddy.
Yeah,
Some
exactly.
horse dewormer
front
up in
lawn,
this bitch.
face down, fuck yourself.
Feet together.
So anyway, this footage was apparently recorded shortly after Home Delta was completely assimilated by the Starkill, and it's this recording device thing that we've seen in a few different other videos, and it's playing a recording that explains that General GC Piso is Dr. Gamma Churchill himself. He is actually, they are the one and the same. Piso is the... So it could be inferred that the idea that Dr. Piso was actually a inmate, it was a lie. It were lied to you.
Sounds like he's a piece of shit. Am I right?
Actually, spoiler alert, the opposite. He's the only one who's not.
He's a little...
So, anyway, a man was speaking at a conference and was eliminated by home operatives. It kind of talks about what happened earlier, that like the GC, like General Piso, was a inmate and he was eliminated by home operatives. That doesn't actually seem to be the case, or maybe it is. I don't think that's like fully explained. All that we really get from this is that Churchill, who is actually the guy in the mask, is also GC Piso. So it's like sort of revealed at this point that the man who is in the mask, who has been talking to the camera, is Dr. Churchill.
Winston?
Yeah.
Winston, are you?
Winston?
He was also part of Project Pegasus. And so he came to 1999 and saw that this was going to happen.
Holy shit, that's funny.
And so he egged on World War II.
Yeah,
it's all See, it's all tied together. So this video goes on to claim that Dr. Spencer was recovered from the Starkill infection, and it was asked, and then he asked that home operatives eliminate Dr. Churchill, who he claimed had succumbed to the infection and was attempting to subvert operations. So what has happened here essentially is that Dr. Spencer had succumbed to the Starkill infection, and then when he got control of everybody, he was like, do my bidding, and then he turned everybody on Dr. Churchill and had them attack him.
Remember when we talked about Spencer being like the telepathic control unit? Yeah, that's when it happened.
Yeah. So anyway, we get a bunch of dialogue from Dr. Churchill here, and he says that he's going to go in alone, and he is going to basically try to find the center of the hive mind, or Starkill, and try to disable the thing or shut it down in some way. And that everybody else that he has been working with up until this point is dead or has been assimilated, I guess. So presumably this is what leads up to Lucan eventually finding him. So he goes to check out the whole situation. He says that he's like narrowed it down to a small area of the country. This turns out to be the Kansas City area. So he explains that he's wandered around Kansas City in like that area in Missouri for a long time. There's like some found footage type stuff, a video of him in a field and in Kansas City where you can kind of see the angel thing floating around. I'm trying to summarize this somewhat because this is 16 minutes of handheld footage, but eventually he comes across something in Paradise, Missouri, and he says that maybe he has actually found the source of the thing. So he wanders over to the lake that we've seen in Lucan's film before, and he finds the same goopy shit on the ground that Lucan wandered into. And then we get to see like firsthand what happened to Dr. Churchill as he wandered through this thing. So he goes into the big fleshy tube. He comes across the angel thing. The angel thing shows him its butthole, it appears.
You're not wrong.
And then
He says, look into my butt kaleidoscope.
That's the angel's fleshy tube.
Imagine if my anus were made of trapezoids.
This man got to enter so many fleshy tubes before he perished.
Lucky.
It's flesh interfacing, Doug.
it do be what it do be. So this thing like says some shit to him. It explained like I thought I had this written in my notes. I've lost track of my notes as I tend to do.
The unprofessional.
He's like, "Who the hell
Yeah.
are you?" And he's like, "You fucking know who I am. You little,
fucking
you little
figure it
bitch."
out.
And then he says what his name is, and it's like, and you can't even
It's
you
just
can't even hear it.
Carl. It's just Carl.
My name is Dave.
My name is Merd.
My name is Matt.
Anyway, the thing talks to him and it says, "I am the unbounded soul, the consciousness within, eternal but cyclical. But your story ends here, Churchill. Beautiful narrative perfection," is what it says. So basically, aren't I such a good writer? Isn't this such a great way to wrap this story up? And then
Stupid question.
No meta here at all.
Stupid question, but is this thing the beta chunk,
Yeah.
or is this
Yes.
a phantom?
Yeah, this is
It's beta chunk.
the thing
Okay,
he's
that's
in
the-
is beta chunk.
Yeah. Alpha
But-
chunk was the first instance. Beta chunk is the bigger bit.
No. I'm talking about the angel thing.
I don't think
I mean,
Isn't that a phantom technically?
technically.
The only the reason I bring that up is because it's named way earlier in one of the videos
Yeah.
I talked about, but was never really like we learned like what an altar was and a temple was and all that shit.
Yeah,
But they
the
actually
next
have
video
names
that I
for a bunch
have
of these.
explains the names of all these different
Okay,
things.
sorry, my bad.
Yeah, nah,
I forgot about that.
yeah,
No,
you good.
Doug, all this proves is that you're paying attention.
I don't even know where I am, so
Cool.
sick.
Yeah. Anyway, so this video ends with basically picking up where the last video that we saw from Lucan ends, and we get to see it again from Lucan's perspective. And he's looking at Churchill, and Churchill reaches out and he hands him that thing that what is that fucking thing called that you're supposed to take in to like get samples of the shit?
Akashic probe.
Yeah, the probe. So he hands him to the he hands him the probe, and he's like, "Take this to the fucking Pentagon." And he's like, "What?" And he's like, "Pentagon, you gotta take it there."
To be fair, the probe literally looks like 3 solar panels attached to like a really long needle.
Yeah,
That's
it's,
just what it looks like.
or just
this
like an
probe's
old
been on my ass
satellite
for
or something.
so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally like a Minecraft squid,
100%.
Yeah.
like straight up.
Do be also looking like that.
Just wireframe.
So the last video is just sort of info dump. So this is a video called Gospel, and it's just a shot of like
How long ago was this uploaded, man?
a month,
Oh yeah.
January
1
30th,
month ago.
2025. So I guess almost 2 months. But this is like a video of an old school database system, and so it boots up, and it provides us some information about the different things that make up this whole structure of Starkill funness. So there's a first structure called Structure A, and Structure A is called an altar, and this is what has meant we mentioned before, but it's basically just like a pillar that with a cross on top, and these are apparently the smallest type of Starkill biomass that's capable of commanding and producing 2 different types of entities. So the first type of entity is called a phantom. And it says they appear nearly indistinguishable from humans, but they have the capability to transform into wretches. So I don't
Wretches, that's right.
know if these are like the glowing things that are floating around, because it says they're indistinguishable from humans, but the glowing floating things that are like floating around are very easily distinguishable from humans by the fact that they fucking glow and float in the air.
Right.
So I
Wait,
don't
what? You
I
do
don't
that?
know if they're the same thing, but I suppose it's possible.
I assumed they were, but I don't know.
See, but like, so the next entity is called a wretch, and it says wretches
Yeah.
are humanoid entities that can be produced from an altar or be converted from a phantom. So I'm thinking that phantoms are legitimately
Ooh.
just human-looking things, which would be
Yes.
like in the earlier videos when all the doctors are like
Yeah.
being like turning into things,
Yes.
and then they start like fucking
Oh my
freaking
God.
out and like spawning shit out of them. That
That's
is
100% what they are.
that is a phantom turning into a wretch when that
It's
happens.
like okay.
I
that's
think
like
it's the same thing from Mike's video when the deer is like
Yeah. Yep.
running around. It's like the
Right.
same shit.
Yeah. So I
Think
think
of it like a larval stage almost.
yeah, I think the floating thing I think is an entity because it says I am the consciousness. So I think it is like the soul, or like at least the Star Kill's attempt at displaying its central consciousness
hive mind.
to.
Yeah.
Is there only one floaty thing, you think?
I'm thinking it is the same thing because
It's
I
the
didn't
Sigma
mention this,
chunk.
but earlier in one of the videos when Lucan is walking around in the forest and he sees the thing, he's like, "That's the thing that's been calling me here." And so I think that
Oh
it
my
is like
God,
the
yeah.
central consciousness, and it's like reaching out to him to like come become part of the hive mind.
Have you guys seen the movie Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise?
Sure, fucking haven't.
Nope.
Well, never mind then. Carry
Structure B. So Structure B is a temple, and the temple basically appears as a much larger concentration of Starkill biomass, and it just looks like a bunch of mushrooms, and in fact, it does have roots that go underground. So this is the thing that when we saw the family's house at the beginning of the series, and then like all these mushrooms are fucking growing up around it. That's what this be. This is a temple, and so temples can spawn wraiths, and a wraith is the giant at-looking thing that can grow up to be up to 200 feet tall, and
Doggo.
it takes different shapes depending on the nature of the temple that it spawns from. And then,
So at this point, you should kind of be recognizing some of the things that were described, like in Act 1.
I would hope so. This is the last video.
I would fucking hope so.
For
yeah.
now.
So
Mike, you know how I know Mike feels bad right now is that I haven't heard him talk in a while. And by a while, I mean most of this episode.
I'm good. I'm just letting it go.
so
Okay.
the last like entity thing that we learn about is called a revenant, and this thing just looks like a single mushroom that excretes spores from its bodies, and it's able to float using natural helium reserves, which is the thing that we've seen floating above the lake, just shitting all over the place, shitting and pooping.
Yep.
And the rest of this video explains that there is, it goes on to talk about a structure C, but there's a system error, and it's not able to retrieve that. So I'm supposing either we learn about that later, or structure C has something to do with the floating fucking thing. I don't know. And then we also learn that there's 20 terabytes of biological memory in this system, which is
What the
for
fuck?
1999 is an absolutely insane amount of data. I don't really know what biological memory means because it's a selection on the Akashic Gospel v
Ooh, you
1.3.
should look up how much space the human memory takes up.
Yeah, well, so I don't know if this is like all the information that it has gotten from the people that it's assimilated. So it's collected 20 terabytes of information from people.
Oh, I'm sure.
Maybe that's what's going on here.
This is the brains episode from Futurama.
Everything's compressed into .mp3 files.
RARs. You got to pay for WinRAR if you want to figure out what structure C is.
I will never pay for WinRAR.
Yeah. And so then this ends by selecting a section called unknown data. And when they click on unknown data, it says encrypted data, and then it just prints a bunch of fucking text on the screen. Is this an ARG thing where you can do something to decode this? I don't fucking know. I'm not going to fucking find out. You fucking figure it out. And
Did
that's...
the comments say anything?
This is Deludi.
Do the comments say anything? They say a lot of things. Lots of people have lots of opinions. I don't think that there's anything in here that actually explains or like
gotcha.
makes any attempt at it. But
I'm sure we have to wait for a couple more videos. But
Right.
yeah. So that is the end of everything that we've got from Midwest Angelica up to this point.
Woo!
Hooray.
I need more.
It's pretty
Dude,
fucking
seriously.
good. It's real solid.
It's real good. The story,
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm sorry to just jump into this, but like, as a person
do
who
your thing. I'm gonna go pay
fucking
back.
loves storytelling, this is like, I don't know, my nirvana. Like, it's got the perfect everything. It explains everything. Like, it gives me reasons for why things are doing things, and it gives me the details. A lot of times when we cover these things, I'm like, okay, what do the details say though? And most of the time, the details are garbage. This, however, it fucking fills the details in for us. It's got everything from like the original thing that set the event off all the way up to like the explanation of how we might counteract it. Like it's just lore heavy. I love that.
Yeah, it's real solid. The visuals are amazing. Like I really
Yeah.
love the blend of like real life footage and 3D models here. There's some points in the earlier videos where I don't think the 3D modeling stuff, like with the videos of the doctors, is done as well as like the footage from say Vita Carnis. I think what
Yeah.
the earlier ones are really missing is like some shaky cam, but the creator obviously figured that out later in. When they added like some shaky cam and like some focus blurring and stuff like that, and the effect becomes very convincing when they figured that out. And it's really it's super sick. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Did this revitalize a little bit of like analog horror in
Nope.
that, or no?
It's the exception that proves the rule.
Hey, I love it.
I don't even know. Like,
I see what you can do with the medium in this, and it makes me hate everything else that's bad and just boilerplate even worse.
Yes.
so I will say, there's a part. If you watch Nightmind's video of this, he says something along the lines of like, if you have no like basically he's going on about like if you have like when you can film something continuously for whatever it is you're doing, there's no break in like interest or whatnot. But if you only have your computer to make this stuff, you need to be able to fucking like utilize it well enough to where it doesn't suck. And unfortunately a lot of people are just like, what if the news told us everything? And then they just go from there, and you're like, fuck.
What if 2007 Microsoft PowerPoint told us all the information we needed?
I don't have Blender, and I don't know how to edit. But boy, if I have Microsoft PowerPoint, and I can work with that,
man.
Yep.
Hey, I've seen there's some good PowerPoints out there, all right?
Dude, no, but the wireframe usage in this, like some of the videos that I saw of like literally like it was a 10-second clip of an op infiltration, and all it showed was wireframe of like part of the facility and like some just simple markers of the operatives moving around. And that got like I was like, holy shit, I'm here for this. I love this. This is like I'm convinced.
Well, I mean, shit, one of my videos was a recreation of events played out by dots. And that was more enthralling than half the things I've seen on the internet in the past month or two. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, dude, honestly, I look back to like Monument Mythos and shit. Like those were like Monument Mythos was awesome, but this like kicked it up a notch.
And like the VHS filter on everything is one of the better ones I've seen too. You don't actively think, oh, this is a filter as you're watching it. It's pretty solid.
No, it subtly tells you this is the late 90s, early 2000s. Like
I have almost no criticisms of this. It's very good.
I don't think I do either. And one of the things that actually like really draws me into is that the descriptions, except for the exception of one in my set of videos, was necessary. Like there's a lot of info that I wouldn't have got from not reading the description of a video that I had, except for one. And like I was like kind of flabbergasted almost, because like I see a lot of people use the description on a YouTube like media for like trying to put code or like a secret into it or something like that. But this one's like, so these videos are like this, and this like happened then, and this is how we found the video. And I like
that there's not just like half-assed ARG shit just shoehorned in here.
No,
right.
There are 4 videos total in this entire series that use base 64 as a description, and every single one is meaningful. The first one I think was Knowledge, which was in
one of mine.
Yeah, it was one of Doug's. I had the first one of mine, Babylon. The description translates to betrayal, which if you read that and you see the subject of it, which is Spencer and Churchill, at that point in time, you know that Spencer is not a betrayer. Like he's in it to win it, which leaves one other option. which tells like it gives the whole thing away if you know where to dig, but you don't until the very end, and like that's what I love.
Yeah, I think
I
really
also enjoy that there's no at the end of every video it doesn't say
created by
John Smith.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, I appreciate that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no like, which unfortunately I wonder if that like has contributed somewhat to the fact that this is a lesser viewed series, even though it's better than some of the ones that do that.
yeah.
there are
That's an-
32,000 subscribers.
But like,
Not enough.
I mean, that's pretty low compared to like other things we've seen, like Monument Mythos and stuff.
It's also a lot higher than a lot of the things we've covered.
eh,
A lot higher than ours.
I think this. I
Oh,
think this
100%.
deserves still. This deserves to be one of the most viewed analog horrors,
absolutely.
and it isn't. Yeah, I appreciate that there's no like clout grabbing or like an attempt to like become like an analog horror influencer going on here. There is a merch site, but whatever.
But it's
Yeah,
story
let
for
'em get
story's
there.
sake.
I don't
tell them
mind
stories
when
'cause they
people
love
like
it.
this. Well, I also don't think a merch site really deters me from liking something or not, just because like I mean shit, let them get theirs if you know, I'd buy a fucking shirt, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know.
Honestly, I might go buy a Midwest Angelica shirt right now.
Yeah.
Because like this shit was awesome.
Like,
I want more to be out now immediately.
If they sold this on VHS, like whenever they finish, I would buy it. Like hands
I'd
down.
buy it. Yeah.
Yeah, even putting my hater hat on here, I can't really come up with much. The one thing I said earlier was like the add some shaky cam and some focus blur, but they figured that out obviously. The other thing is that some of the voiceovers and like some of the
Yes.
some of the stuff earlier on is like it leaves a bit to be desired. Like they got the effect almost right, but I think there just needs to be a little bit more inflection because it's almost that TikTok voice that I hate.
Yeah.
Almost. You can very
real
much tell that
close.
it's not somebody from 1999.
Yeah.
Don't forget, they totally fucked up that architecture for the.
Oh yeah, the donut. Fuck.
The donut.
You're right.
Donut. The fucking donut.
So again, 0 out of 10. This shit sucks.
Yeah,
I
keep the
hate it.
sizes of your donuts in check. Jesus.
No, yeah. I have nothing more to add. You guys, I think, nailed it on the head. This honestly, out of scale 1 to 10, I'm giving this like a 9.5. This was like
Yo,
peak.
dude, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Dude, this scratched my fucking SCP itch. This scratched my Vita Carnus itch. Like, I don't know. It hit all the right notes for creepy. I loved it.
Hundo P.
You think we should bring back SCP?
No.
As long
I
as
don't.
somebody else edits, yeah.
As long as it's
Someone
not a
else edits,
fucking,
I'm good. I don't
as long as
care.
it's not a fucking audio drama, I'm down to do some SCPs.
Oh, I would talk about SCPs. I don't want to. Yeah.
I'd talk about
do
it,
the
but
logs.
I can't do the 9 hours of editing anymore. I can't I don't have the time.
And I don't care to do another thing. I'm already doing cryptic corners. I don't need to put that on my plate.
Yeah, so Jason and Matt need to come up with some shit.
Yeah. Something easy.
We can
easy and
filter out a cryptid corner with every other
Right.
time.
Yeah, we could rotate
Yeah.
every other month.
There you
We'll
go.
figure it out. I mean, technically oh man, this is showing our hands.
We just
do
read
have
Urban Dictionary.
about 3 episodes written for a mystery flesh pit incursion.
I don't want to do that.
episode.
I do not.
I don't want to either. Not until we have the rest of it written at the very least, but like that's a lot.
How long has it been since you guys even looked at
So
that?
never.
You know what
Like
I
2
really
years.
want to do?
Solidly.
Yeah, 2 years ago probably.
You know what I want to do? In this
Your mom.
episode.
Yeah.
End the episode.
End the episode. I'm
Looks
gonna
like
end it
get
off
me
here by
outta
just
here.
I'm just gonna say all of our socials. Go wherever you're at social media wise. We're either DeludiPod or Don't Look on the internet.
Doodles.
Our email is deludipod@gmail.com. Send us an email. I also just want to say if you see some weird like eldritch Lovecraftian space tentacle hive mind thing, fuck it. Be the first dude to fuck it, dude.
Be the first one to fuck it.
One small cum for man, one giant jizz for mankind. What do you got, Jason? Say a thing real quick.
Oh man, as always, stay fucking paranoid. But please, like honestly, go check out Midwest Angelica. Like we slept on this for a bit, but I'm happy we slept on it for as long as we did, simply so we could tackle this in the capacity of not our first 50 episodes.
Yeah.
Because those were terrible.
We're now in the later 150s.
Douglas?
Yeah.
What do you got for people?
Of
Cheers,
course,
everybody.
I'm gonna say slap peen and bean together. But if you could assimilate the beans and peens that you are seeing, that'd be pretty sick.
You didn't do it anyway.
That'd be pretty sick.
Bartholomew, what do you got?
I don't have a catchphrase.
That's your catchphrase.
Awesome. There it is. Bye. Bye, everybody. Have a beautiful day. I
We
love
love
you
you.
all equally. Mwah. That's for you.
Hate all of you. Goodbye.
Those of you in Discord, stick around because we have.
Don't look under the internet.